Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel, and today we've got some turkey hunting here, and I gotta say, it was a rather interesting turn of events, that's for sure. It took 2 weeks, but only 2 hunts and a couple hours worth of actual time in the woods, and it didn't really go at all how I expected it to. So we've definitely got a pretty interesting little setup here today, that's for sure. And this actually ended up being my first turkey in the evenings, and my first bird with a 20 gauge as well. So a number of firsts for me because I never expected this to go the way that it did. But real quick, before we jump into the video, I'll show you my setup that we're running today real quick for those of you curious. We've got the Stevens 301 20 gauge with the Cabela's Blackmaxx 575 constriction turkey choke and some of the Herter's 3-inch 1.5 ounce number 9 TSS shells. And we've tested those previously in a video, and that combination is absolutely devastating. So we've definitely got a pretty hard-hitting combo today, that's for sure. But you will see me jumping in and out a few times with some maps and stuff to explain. But we'll start out opening morning of the 2024 turkey season here in Virginia. So let's jump over to there and get started. Alright y'all, well, it's opening morning of turkey season here in Virginia, and a little bit of a later start this morning, but it's not necessarily a bad thing for this property because these birds are pretty late risers around here from what I've seen over the last few years. Last night I did hear a bird gobble. He's not on this property, but I do think there's a chance anyway that we can get him to come past. I'll show you guys here in a second, but there's pretty much only 2 ways that this bird can go, and one of which we can definitely get set up on. So when I heard this bird last night, he's probably 200 yards straight out in front of the camera down into that tree line there, and there's pretty much 2 ways he can go. He can either work to the right, not far off the back of this pond, and get up in the field that's over there behind that tree line, or he can work over to the left and scoot across a gravel road that's down on that side over there. Best case scenario, we get set up about 150 yards in front of me here off the back end of this pond and catch him before he comes up into this field over here on the right, because I know that's where they like to hang out a lot. So that's best case scenario anyway, but I don't know if it's going to work out. These birds over here are extremely picky a lot of the time and don't do pretty much anything you want them to do. I haven't heard him gobble this morning, but I haven't tried to get him to gobble either. I'd rather get kind of in the area down in there and set up first in a decent-ish spot and then figure out which way he's going. So let's work our way in there, and I'll catch back with you guys if we actually hear him and if he's starting to come this way or not. Alright, here's a little bit better look at what we've got going on here. That bird is going to be roosted somewhere back in that back tree line back there, about 150 yards or so in front of me. He can either scoot down through here and across my little trail between me and that water you see through the trees there and up into the field that's over on the top of that hill, which I think that's probably what he's going to want to do, or he can get down and scoot along the back edge of that field you see over there and across the gravel road that's down over through that tree line. Problem is my property line runs kind of diagonal with the power lines right there across the back edge of that field, so we kind of need to locate him and see what the deal is, where he's at and where he might be going. I'm close enough now to where I can get in position if I need to, and I tried to hit him with the crow call a second ago, no answer. So I don't know, it's just a waiting game at this moment anyway for a few minutes to see if he wants to talk and see where he's at. Okay, update. I'm now down this trail a little bit farther, and I've got hens making some noise up on that hillside up there. I don't know, probably 80 yards from me. And that tom I heard last night is probably 100 yards over that direction. So the hope is those hens call him right across this little roadbed right here between me and the water. That way they can go right up in that field over there all morning long. So let's wait it out a few minutes and see what happens. Alright y'all, well, updates. Been here for about an hour and seen nothing, heard nothing. Pretty much after the last update, those hens stopped. I believe they flew down and up into that field, which I'm going to scoot around and look at through the binoculars. And I never seen or heard anything more from that tom. I don't know if he went the other direction quietly this morning or what, but I know we've got wind starting to pick up now today, which is going to quiet these birds up around here. But I guess I'll scoot around here and see if I see anything. If I do, I'll pick you guys back up. If not, I guess we'll see where we go from here. Alright, so, well, we didn't really see anything or hear anything great on opening morning here. That's just the way it goes sometimes. It just didn't work out. But now we've got a little bit of a time jump. We're jumping to 2 weeks after that first clip you just saw there. Here in Virginia, the first 2 weeks of the season, you can only hunt until noon, but now we're going to jump to where we can hunt all day long. And the reason for that is I've been hearing a bird in the same tree every evening, and I think there's a pretty good chance we can get set up on him if we play our cards right. So fast forward in the clips a little bit here. Let's jump to the second day I actually turkey hunted, but 2 weeks later after opening day. So let's get into that clip and see where this heads. Alright y'all, well, fast forward, because it's been 2 weeks now. Not for a lack of trying, just for a lack of time, really. But I think I got a plan figured out for tonight that should work out for us. I'll show you guys here in a second, but there's been a turkey that's been roosting in the same tree pretty much every single night for the last 2 weeks. You can hear him gobbling just about every evening right before dark, and I know that that tree is on the property here that I have permission to hunt. Problem is, he spends all day long out in this field, and then goes to roost on my permission property here, but in the mornings he flies from that tree directly down into the field because it's only like 20 yards off this field edge. So all I need him to do is be inside the tree line over here to be on our property. So I had to wait 2 weeks because here in Virginia, the first 2 weeks of the season, we can only hunt till noon. So now that I can hunt all day long, it's 5:15 or so right now. It gets dark about 8 o'clock, and typically 7:45 or so, he's pretty much getting up in this tree over here. So I'm going to skirt this field edge and pretty much wait for him to come right to me, is the plan for tonight anyway, or at least that's the hope. But here's that field that he plays around in. I don't have permission to hunt this field, but I do have permission to hunt inside this tree line right here. Now, I don't see him right now, but chances are he's across the field about 300 yards or so just over the ridge, which is typically where he likes to hang out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot down this bottom here, down to the bottom, and I'm going to cut into the right and follow the tree line all the way up around the back edge of the field. Those closer trees you see right along in there, that's a little finger that sticks out in the middle of this field. But there's another part of the field over on the other side there, so I'm going to be right back up in that corner over there, probably about 350 yards in front of me or so. And the plan is he's going to come right on down the field and go to roost right over back in that corner again and come right to me. So let's start working our way over there, get set up. I'm going to see if I can spot him out in this field from over on that side. If we can, we'll get set up to where we might not even have to call. He might legitimately come right to us. But let's scoot over there and see if we can get set up somewhere. Alright, there they are. That's a terrible shaky camera, but they're 250 yards or 300 yards out in front of me. So that's a long ways. But point being, they're right out in that field exactly where I want them to be at. Because we are right back here on this little ridge top, right where they want to come roost. And clearly we still have a good amount of time before they get here, but there they are. There's one tom and two hens out there. They're kind of getting behind that tree right now, but I just can't let them really know that I'm here until it's too late. So I'm going to choose a setup point where I can see them and to where they should walk right in front of me, and we should be pretty good at that point. Alright, well, we're in the area we kind of want to be at now. It's very tricky to kind of find where I want to sit at. Those birds are still right out in pretty well the same area, but I'll show you kind of what I'm looking at here and what I'm debating on, because there's kind of an area that would be better for the turkeys is what I'm thinking, kind of an area that would be better for me and being able to get a shot. So let me show you what I'm working with here for a second, and we'll kind of decide what we want to do, I guess. Okay, so those turkeys are right about there, about, I don't know, 250 yards in front of me. I am pretty much right where they want to be at. My property line that I have permission on is about 50 yards straight in front of the camera that way. The problem is, see how thick this is? And it kind of dips into a bowl down the bottom of the hill here before it meets that water down there through the trees. I don't have anything but like a 15-yard shot sitting right here where I'm at. Those turkeys are probably going to want to come between me and my property line over there. Now, the last clip you saw, we were maybe 50 yards that way over there, which is a much better, much more open clearing to where I can sit up against a big old tree or something and have a nice clear shot. I can see them coming in and stuff like that. I just don't think they're going to want to roost quite that far over. I think they're going to want to be right where I'm at here or a little bit farther down off this edge. So I think for now, I'm going to scoot a little bit farther over into this clearing off to my right where I can still see them. And worst case scenario, if I see them making their way back across this field here in about an hour, and they're coming over into this corner, we might be able to duck off this hill edge behind me and skirt over here and see if we can get it shot. So let me figure out a spot here, and we'll see what happens as the evening goes on. Okay, another development. They're still out there in the field, and you can see our strutter right over there if the camera will focus. There we go, that's the guy we want, but there is now a bunch of them out there. I don't know if the camera will ever focus around all these tree limbs, but scattered throughout there is more than just the 3 I initially thought. There's about 8 of them out there, and one tom that I see. The rest are all hens, but that's the guy we want right there. He's probably 275 yards out in front of me, but that's the guy we want. It's just a matter of, well, where are the hens going to take him tonight? That's the tricky part. So I'm just going to have to sit here and watch and see where he decides to go and hope that we're in the right place at the right time. Okay, I need to jump in here just to give a little context because there is a pretty stark jump here. I had been up on that little ridge top watching these turkeys and stuff go back and forth across the field. They had all pretty much congregated to the left of me a little ways, just out of my view of where I could actually see them. They were just over the little ridge there in the middle of the field. Not long after the last clips you guys saw there, I saw one lone hen walk from left to right across the field and around the tip of that little finger there. She was all by herself. I don't really know why she wandered off, but she did. After she got around the corner, that little finger of trees, I saw that tom all by himself come strutting out into the middle of the field, presumably probably looking for where that hen had gone to. And although I didn't film it, I should have, but I didn't. I decided to just do a little chirp on the call. I hit it like 3 quick chirps, and that was it. I had a cheap little pot call, and I just wanted to kind of catch his attention and let him know that, hey, there might be something over here, which was actually me. I didn't expect him to come into me. I just was trying to get his attention a little bit. And sure enough, I hit that call a little bit, just loud enough for him to hear me. He stuck his head up and looked my direction, but other than that, didn't really seem too interested in it. So I had sat back down, I had got myself situated a little bit, and within, I'd say, a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes later, I decided to peek up over the edge a little bit again, and he was inside of 50 yards already from me. He had made up over 100 yards easily across that field. He was coming to me. I did not expect him to do it, but I guess he thought I was the hen he was looking for, and he made up ground quickly, to say the least. So I had to absolutely scramble to get into the position that I got into here. It was not at all a great setup, but let's jump into the clip here and just see how quickly things take place. Oh, he's flapping his wing over there. That's 12 yards, something like that. Oh, I had to scoot back in the trees a little bit farther because I don't think I got it on camera, but I hit the call one time and he hooked his head and came right to me. So I had to scoot back, change my whole camera setup, almost had to take a left-hand shot. Oh, and he came right to, that's gotta be 10 yards, 11 yards, 12 yards, something like that. Oh, that 20 gauge stoned him. Oh boy, this bird has been just gobbling his head off every night over here in the same trees. I mean, he roosts in one of these trees right here, and I saw one hen go across the field, and then I saw him all by himself, so I figured, let me hit the call one time and just see if I can get his attention. And bam, right to me he came. I mean, he was 150 yards out when I hit the call, and he was here in like 3 minutes. Oh boy, that worked out better than I could have ever imagined. Let's go up and look at him, because I think he's a relatively decent one. Oh, that was awesome. Let's go take a look at him. Oh man, there he is. He flapped 1 or 2 times and that was it. I mean, you can see my setup over there barely. Maybe if I zoom in a little bit, you can just see my shotgun leaning up against the tree right there. I mean, that is like 12 yards, literally. Like, oh, he was close. And that was just awesome. He came right through here. I mean, he was all the way up on that ridge line you see right up there in the middle when I hit that call, because I had saw a hen walk across and wind up over on this side. And he beelined it right through the tree line, right in here. And I'm honestly glad he did come over here, because if he came right down my barrel where I was sitting, I mean, it would have been very limited to say the least. I mean, again, I was sitting right at the base of that little bit bigger tree right there. Man, that worked out so good. But let's take a better look at him here for a second and see what we got. Okay, get some of this green stuff out of the way. For a beard here, not the biggest we've ever gotten, but hey, that's probably 9-inch, maybe close to 10-inch. Not bad at all. Just a single beard, no triple beard or anything on him. As for spurs, not super pointy, but that's about average for the birds I see around this area. But man, that is a beautiful looking bird, that's for sure. Let me get him set up here a little nicer and we'll get a good little picture of him and stuff like that for y'all. All right, y'all, well, what a hunt that was. I technically only hunted 2 days so far, opening morning and opening evening, I guess, of the all-day hunting season here in Virginia. I heard this bird for 2 weeks. I knew where he was roosted at. So it just turns out I played my cards right tonight, really, I guess. I guess you get lucky sometimes, but this bird really was a little bit too predictable for his own good, I guess. But man, what a hunt. It's a beautiful turkey at, I counted 13 steps. So man, with a TSS load in a 20 gauge at 13 steps, it put the hammer down on that turkey. There's no question about it. There's a nice old view of his tail fan there. Beautiful looking bird. That is plenty good enough for me. I mean, it's not very often that hunts work out like this did, where 2 days worth of actual hunting and really only like a couple of hours worth of hunting, but you put in the time and you figure out where they're roosting, and you can play your cards right. So man, that was awesome to get him that close. I did not expect him to do that, but hey, this is my first evening turkey as well now that I think about it, and it's my first 20 gauge bird actually. So bunch of new stuff and some very exciting stuff tonight, that's for sure. So no complaints from me whatsoever on this one. That was nothing short of a fantastic hunt, I'd say. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that hunt right there? That was just completely unexpected. I would have never thought that I could call a turkey out of a field like that, especially in this area. I've seen birds do that for years and have never been able to call one out. But I guess I was just in the right place at the right time. He ended up thinking I was the hen that had wandered across the field maybe, and he wanted to come try and wrangle me back in with the rest of the herd. We definitely played our cards the best we could and got lucky, but that was nothing short of a fantastic hunt, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. So leave me a comment. What did you think about that? And have you ever been in a situation where something similar to that happens and you were able to capitalize on some birds getting separated and calling one out of a field that he really has no reason to leave? I'd love to know if you have a story like that as well, because the chances of that happening again, probably pretty slim. But either way, can't complain about that. That was a fantastic, fun hunt. That's the joys of turkey hunting. You never know quite what you're going to get yourself into. But as always, thank you guys for watching, subscribing, liking, commenting, all that stuff. I really do appreciate it. We're going to have plenty more hunts to come on the channel as well. But in the meantime, we'll get back to our normal ammo testing and stuff. So stick around for all that. And with that being said, I'm going to get back to the usual stuff. So I'll see y'all in the next one.